what it's about. Venture capital is supposed to be investing in the unbounded potential of entrepreneurship to transform our world. And in terms of where I think Miami and the world is going in the next 25 years, this is a very exciting time to be alive.
All right, so I definitely want to jump right into it. So let's talk about your childhood, Shervin. Can you just tell us a little bit more about your story? Immigrating here to the U.S. as a refugee, and how that has contributed to kind of your story today.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to Miami, everyone. I'm very excited to speak to all of you today. My background is essentially, I was born in Iran. We had to escape the war and the revolution, typical kind of American dream story of, being an immigrant and a refugee coming to America with nothing. My parents came with like $30. They were educated, but my dad came originally to get his master's from Catholic University. Then we went back right before the revolution and the war, and then we escaped and came with nothing. But they always pushed education and learning to me and my brother and my sister. My sister's actually here, Sarah, lady in red. My son Cyrus is here too. He's doing some cool real estate stuff in Miami. But my dad started driving a taxi in Washington, D.C., the orange and black ones, which ironically, years later when I did Uber, that helped for me to understand the market a little bit better. And my mom, even though she was a teacher for 14 years before we came here, she cleaned hotel rooms and as a maid. And so we were poor, but we had a lot of dreams. And my parents infused my sister and brother with the confidence in our abilities and in learning and education. And my sister ended up being a tenured professor at places like Georgetown Medical. My brother became a lawyer. I was the black sheep in the family. I went to Berkeley, and I was supposed to be the doctor, or in the Persian language you say doctor. And I ended up rebelling because I saw NCSA Mosaic my freshman year of college, and it changed everything for me. I begged my parents for Apple IIc when I was in 7th grade in the magnet school, and put advertisements around the house for the Apple IIc. I wrote a letter to Steve Jobs in 7th grade with like a Macintosh design. And years later, when I got to work with him and meet him, I was able to share that story, and we got a kick out of that. But that immigrant mentality and background is something that really shaped our family, and only in America is that even possible. That story of coming here with nothing and working hard and trying to seek opportunity for you, yourself, your family, and in the end being infused with a sense of service and wanting to do something good for the world. And all of those things came together in a beautiful way. And now we're here in Miami. I moved here almost 5 years ago. And I have a lot of thoughts about where Miami is going and why Miami is such an incredible place for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so Jesse, for you, can you just tell us a little bit more about your background story and kind of all the things that brought you to this moment here in Miami?
So, I think that we really stand on the shoulders of giants, and we've been sort of very fortunate, to benefit from Shervin's vision. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but I'll say when coming out of COVID as a sort of inflection point, we were looking at new markets to invest in, and really started pinpointing on Miami. And I came here to Miami, and the brokerage community said, it's very exciting. Spotify is opening up here in Wynwood. And I thought that that was great. Spotify's a fantastic company. If you haven't been over to the Oasis with their offices, it's absolutely beautiful. But that wasn't necessarily what I found so exciting. What I thought was exciting was that Founders Fund had an office here, and that Atomic had an office here, and that there was this growing ecosystem of investment and venture capital that was coming here. And something that Shervin was extremely early on. You moved here 2017, right? And what they do is they create an ecosystem. You know, there is more capital in venture capital than there has ever been in history. And these companies are competing for the most talented startups. And the startups have their pick of the litter right now. And so they're not going to where they're going to get money. They're going to where they're going to get intellectual capital. And by choosing Miami to work, we've created that ecosystem here. Well, you've created that ecosystem here. And we've been, I think, the benefactors of that. And I think what's really meaningful is it's not talent that's coming here. It's capital that's come here and creating opportunity for the talent that exists here, which has been really meaningful.
That's a really good one. Are you going to add something on to that?
No, thank you. That's far too kind. When we moved here, end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I saw the opportunity in Miami to be a home, a sanctuary, a place that was welcoming people with open arms in a way that when I first moved to Silicon Valley, that was the same culture of like openness. But there is something about Miami and its immigrant and refugee, fabric, that this is a city of immigrants, city of refugees. And as a refugee, myself, I felt that connection, that open-mindedness, that openness to new entrants, new citizens, new people moving here and wanting to build things like what Jesse's done in a year is incredible here in Miami and here in Wynwood, here in this building. And to have the top VC firms in the world in one building here in Wynwood, that's a testament to your vision, building on top of the things that have been done, not just when I moved here, but by the generations of people that have been building, Miami into a cultural, really unique place in America. And I have this thesis about Miami that I think Miami this is where the American dream is most alive in America today, at a time that we need a reminder of what the American dream has always been for so many people, to come here and believe that they can be an entrepreneur, that they can change the world, that they can pursue their dreams. And Miami represents all of that at a time when I believe that dream is so important for people to believe in. And one of the things I said, years ago in Silicon Valley is that I realized that entrepreneurship is a movement, and Silicon Valley definitely incubated that movement. But Silicon Valley is not a physical place anymore. It's an idea, and it's gone viral, and it's gone around the world, and it has inspired people to start their own companies. And Miami is really the best example of that belief that it's a city that is open for business, open for ideas, open for new citizens to come here and plant deep roots and build something here. And also, the weather's pretty nice. There's not much to hate. This is the really the only tropical major city in America. So there's so much going for it in terms of what can be grown.
I mean, you guys are mentioning the valley. My mic is just too high to take it on. Sorry, I have a loud voice, so yeah, that tends to happen a lot. But yeah, anyway, mentioning Silicon Valley, I think one of the things important to mention here, Shervin, is that your career really started in the valley once you graduated Berkeley, and with all the experience that you've had as a VC and investor, I think our audience would probably love to know, what do you think makes an idea great, and how have you decided on the things to go all in on?
Absolutely. The best examples for me as an investor right now, I'm very lucky. The returns on I became a VC officially in 2011. I'm up about 83x across those investments, and a lot of them have to do obviously with luck. But secondly, a thesis around human behavioral change. And I look for human behavioral cultural change that is a key aspect to what I look for in new companies and new entrepreneurs and new products. And a lot of times you can, like as an example, if any of you remember the first time you rode an Uber and you pushed that button and you moved the car. And one of the things I realized when I first saw it in San Francisco is that it felt like a superpower. It felt like I could push a button, I could move steel even thousands of miles away if I wanted to order an Uber for a family member. And that was a new behavior that was created by a new platform in the iPhone and the App Store, and being able to use GPS and being able to put that in the car and totally transform the entire transportation market. And at the time, Uber was a couple thousand cars, 1.8 million in revenue. And when I did my analysis of frequency and average purchase order size, frequency of use per month, my model showed that it would hit 100 million in a year, and I was wrong. It hit it in 6 months. That's how fast it accelerated. And I valued the company at 290 million pre, and everyone thought I was crazy. They thought, hey, this is a taxi company. And I realized Travis's vision was so big. What he was talking about was the replacement of car ownership itself, not a taxi company, not a black car company. And suddenly the TAM became trillions, not even billions. And so for me, one is find things that are going to create new behaviors for at least 1 billion people in the world. That's going to shift things in the market. And you saw in the video some of those names of companies that we backed early on. They've ended up becoming, global brands. They've become part of people's daily behaviors, and that's how I invest. The other part is I look for founders who have grit, who have the personality and the intelligence and the work ethic to go after really big ideas, and have the boldness to go after building great ideas that could change the world. Otherwise, for me, it's not. That's what it's about. Like, venture capital is supposed to be investing in the unbounded potential of entrepreneurship to transform our world. And we'll touch on this in a little bit, but in terms of where I think Miami and the world is going in the next 25 years, this is a very exciting time to be alive.
I think that's a great setup for our next question.
Can I borrow your mic, Jesse? No, your second one. And then, yeah, sure. So I'm H2. Mic 2 is me. Thank you.
The next company we're investing in is a microphone company.
Yeah, really good. Speakers and stuff.
I was keep going, but no, I think when I'm thinking about like this idea of like with your early journey in Silicon Valley, and the reason I was specifically excited about this panel is it kind of represents, well, at least both of you kind of represent that earlier move to Miami. So you've been here for 5 years. You've really collaborated with many players in the ecosystem to help accelerate and advance some of the work that's been happening here in Miami. And then Jesse, I know you're here today. So my question is, what do you think specifically drew you to Miami first, Jesse? And then I'd love to hear, what brought you back to Miami in 2017?
I just want to take a moment to recognize 83x. On a real estate deal, if I do 5x, I'm calling every single one of my investors and saying, you're taking me out for drinks. It's fundamentally amazing. So I think that when you look at Miami, there's a few things. COVID really did was it accelerated changes in how people work over the span of probably 18 months, what would have taken place over 10 years. And it was a scary place to be an office investor because everyone was talking about the death of the office. And what really changed, though, was how we distributed geographically. Oh, that's much better. So it wasn't, people having the option to work from home and then working from home permanently, but choosing where should home be. And if you mentioned, Miami is the only tropical city in the country. The flora and the fauna here are wonderful. The lifestyle here is great. And so people started to look across the country and say, where do I want to live? Where do I want to be? But the office didn't go away, right? If you're a founder and you're on a mission from God to create your company, you still need a place to cohabitate with everybody else. So now you're in a new city, you're here in Miami, and you're saying, where are we going to work, right? And we've now seen the placement of companies here spreading like wildfire. And it's due also to, again, the investment that you've made here, which has been significant. And it happened over time. And I think that's an important point to talk about too. Because, I'm going to mention this a few times, is COVID as an inflection point. And Miami really pounced on that. But that happened because of a framework that was made earlier. And I think the relationship here with the mayor is sort of important to touch on that point.
When I first moved here, I got introduced to the mayor by Irie, DJ Irie, who is one of my dearest friends, and he's an angel investor. He's originally from Jamaica, moved to Miami, and we met years ago. And I brought him into Uber as an investor, and he's just one of the best humans that we know. And so when I first moved, he was like, "You have to meet Mayor Suarez, Francis," and he set up the warmest meeting. And Francis, as many of you, if you've met him, is an incredible leader. He is essentially the CEO of a startup called Miami. And I like to say I did the seed round of Miami, and many people did the pre-seed and incubation, and for many years before us. And so the mayor, again, welcomed me with open arms. I got to meet his team and people like Brian Goldmeyer and his chief of staff and everybody, and Safe and so many others who share the dream of making Miami a tech ecosystem. And so we would talk a lot about it. And the first thing I did when I moved here, my sister and I and our team, we started the Edison Companies, which is an incubator, and that's what the Edison name is. We incubated 10 different companies in Miami. And ideated them, designed the products. We had a humble little office in Miami Beach, and started a few companies. So with Usain Bolt, we incubated Bolt Mobility, which is a electric scooter company that's done quite well. We incubated Sizzle, which was a mobile cloud kitchen company that my son was part of the founding team of, and Sarah's on the board. My brother is the CEO and co-founder, and we got acquired by GoPuff. I was an investor in GoPuff, and my brother's been running around the country with the assistant team, launching GoPuff kitchens all over the country. And that all happened here in Miami. We put to work probably close to $50 million in incubating, investing in Miami, investing in companies quietly, and friends who knew what we were doing were coming in, visiting, and I started to introduce the mayor to a lot of our friends in tech over the last 4 or 5 years. And as you said, things definitely accelerated in the pandemic, and people realized that in a world of remote you could live and work anywhere, so why not live in, paradise? why not like build your life and build your companies in paradise? And founder after founder would come. We would host boat days and events at my house with Irie, with Wyclef, with lots of our friends, with the mayor, with the governor, with Mayor Levine Cava, like all of the kind of leadership, and things began to really click. People began to, it took off an inflection point, and when then the mayor did that famous tweet, "How can I help?" As a response to Delian, I remember calling him and saying, "Hey, let's do a billboard," and my team and I designed this billboard that we put up in San Francisco, saying, "Thinking about moving to Miami, DM me," from Mayor Suarez's Twitter. We put it on 280, and we put it in front of Airbnb, we put it in front of Uber. It was quite a move, and the mayor said his DMs blew up after this. Thousands of people DM'd him, and one after the other, friends, people I've invested in, Harry Hurst from Pipe, many others who we know began moving here after coming to visit and seeing, this actually makes a lot of sense. And I would introduce the mayor to them, so when they were coming to visit, they would meet this amazing mayor, when many times they weren't getting the time of day in these other cities from the leadership. In fact, were being shunned. And so, to have an area that's like, we would love for you to come here, here's all the things we can do. That was an incredible formula for success. And that's why I think we're here, and we're very lucky to have the mayor as a leader of the movement.
I didn't know that you started too. So it's funny because I think that kind of harping on the importance of that ambassadorship is very meaningful. The first people that I met in Miami was on the Zoom in Austin. It was Saif and Kevin Ruiz. And it's sort of indicative of the red carpet that Mayor Suarez kind of rolled out in welcoming people here. And that's important because, the mayor's job is to create positive outcomes for the citizenry. And it was through these efforts and this ambassadorship that happened. And I think that we mentioned it before, but bringing all of this business here does something very important for the citizenry of Miami. All these people who integrated here for opportunity are now having a much easier time finding it because of the relationships that you built and that the mayor brought you. And I think that it's really meaningful not to just think about this from a growth of a business perspective of creating opportunities, but it's actually creating meaningful, tangible outcomes for people that come here. And that's really, really important.
I'd like to, we're talking about like this concept of building cities, right? What are some of the things that you actually think needs to go into building and helping to facilitate these ecosystems? And one of the things you're excited about is what's happening with the smart cities and kind of like some of the frameworks that you developed at Shervin that you think we could use or the audience could learn from.
Absolutely. So probably 2011, I had lunch with my dear friend Joel Onsdale from ABC, and he's co-founder and volunteer with Blue Teal. And I proposed this idea of what I call new cities. And the idea was, let's create new towns, new cities that are private corporations where citizenship is ownership. And what if we use crypto as a form of currency to run these cities and to share ownership? All these ideas have now evolved into like DAOs and crypto cities, and the founder of Ethereum has now written an essay called Crypto Cities based on these ideas, and we hosted. My sister and I would organize these new cities salons with Joe over many years, planting the seeds, and then Balaji, who's a dear friend, became an early kind of intellectual partner in this, and now he has a best-selling book that's about to come out is already in the #1 list on Amazon, called Network States. And that's the idea, kind of the evolution of the new cities movement into essentially digital cities that people are citizens of. These ideas are becoming real, and there's a bunch of startups and funds that we're a part of where we're actually helping create, completely new cities. And in parallel with that is this idea of not just creating new cities, but then investing in existing cities and pushing them forward. And I feel like Miami's been this incredible laboratory for that idea. That can you take a city, an amazing city like Miami, and make it an international capital of capital and opportunity that can attract so much talent, intellectual prowess, and capability and drive into this city. Like even at the event last night that we did together, the energy was alive. You guys did an amazing job. And just looking over this beautiful city, and it's inspiring. It's great to be here, and I think now there's a shift. And what I've talked to the mayor and others about is that this can't just be a marketing win. This has to be a substance win. We have to build on top of all of the strengths that we have here, the diversity of the labor force, the talent of the labor force, the educational system, the university systems here are great. Investing in that, we introduced friends like Eric Schmidt and others to the mayor around ideas around quantum computing. We actually have a SPAC called EBCM with Emil Michael, and Eric Schmidt is an advisor there, and Betsy Atkins and Denmark West and Desiree Gruber on the board, Peter Gumanis. We want to do something like deep tech, and we actually are taking a quantum computing company public and working on potentially having, more quantum computing companies in Florida, in Miami. We're working on, bringing another space company to Florida. Lots of these like deep projects that bring not just marketing wins, but like real substance, real infrastructure. Imagine rockets taking off, in Miami and watching that, and imagine quantum computing companies and foundries being created. There's all kinds of infrastructure wins that are happening that are going to build on top of the success that in these next 20, 25 years, where the tech that we're used to today is going to look so, we're going to be laughing at some of the tech that we have today. The same way we laugh at rotary phones and answering machines. The next 25 years, one of my biggest pieces of advice to my friends is stay alive. Like longevity is coming. Stay healthy, stay alive. And the changes that are coming are going to be so incredible. They're going to be at the civilizational level, and the returns on these investments are going to be both in terms of obviously as an investor, but also as societally. The world is going to be shifting and changing and expanding, and it's an amazing time to be a part of that.
Just to touch on this point too, I think that it not being just a marketing win is something that's already happening, and it's happening because of you, because of Keith, because of Jack, because of David, and the baton is being passed. We're investing $200 million at least this year in technology office, and I'm a boring office guy, right? I'm not that interested, but when we invest in technology office, we're really investing in companies. That's happening because of the work that you put in, the work that again, Keith, Jack, everybody else put in. Also though, we're not here by some cosmic circumstance in the seats we are today. It's because of the work that the Hack Week team is doing as well. I would say that Miami has the strongest holistic technology community in bar none the rest of the country. There's other markets that have benefited from the distribution of the technology community. Austin is a great city. Denver, also a great city. And I would say what's unique to what's happening in Miami is this particular ecosystem with you, with Dave, with Chris Adamo. Everyone here is putting in work to grow the community, to bring engineers here, to bring talent here, but also to take the talent that exists here in Miami, the people that immigrated here or grew up here, that should have had access to these opportunities before. And that's because of the work that you're doing and the infrastructure you were part of creating.
I mean, just looking from 2017 to now and the progress that Miami has made as an ecosystem, like what do you think is next, Jesse?
My dream for Miami is just peering into the future, the next 20, 25 years, is a high-tech city that continues to invest in its diversity and continues to protect its culture of openness and welcoming everyone with open arms, invests in each other and in community. But I'd love to see a city that has incredible high rises and lots of housing options and opportunities that focuses on also having affordable housing, so we don't run into some of the other issues that have happened in other cities. As we bring incredible opportunity, at the same time we have to spread that opportunity to all corners of the city. Invest in our educational systems and opportunity there. And that's always been a big part of what my family office, our family foundation, the Pishevar Jesse Foundation, my sister's chief operating officer of. We hosted a great thing with Bluff and the whole community on diversity in tech. This last year there was like an amazing event of bringing people together, and bonds were created. Friends like Angela Benton and Chris from Andreessen and Chris Lyons and others were there that really showed what the potential of a diverse, thriving city can be all about. It provides opportunity for all.
I don't think I could put that one better.
I mean, we're getting down to the wire, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to just tweet me, because I love Twitter. It's at Miami Hack Week, and we'll pick out some of the questions if you guys just tag us at Miami Hack Week. But yeah, I mean, we can probably just keep this last part a little bit on the lighter side. So if just like looking back with all the experience that you've had over the years, what was one thing you wish you knew when you were younger?
Okay, Josh. There's a lot I wish I knew when I was younger, but as I just had my birthday, I turned 48, March 24th, and I reflected on that quite a bit, and I think, as a father to two kids, Cyrus and Daria, I've thought about that a lot, and for me, in passing on any wisdom to my kids that I wish I knew as I was younger was to be kind to yourself, to be patient. That with patience and kindness to yourself, you will get through every hardship in life. When I was a kid and we had not much in furniture, my parents would buy used furniture for our apartment, and we'd wait for my dad to get home from his taxi shift at 10 p.m. So we were hungry, but my mom would always cook the best Persian food, and we'd wait for him to come home and have this incredible, that's the reason our family office is called Sofra. Sofra in Farsi and Persian is a blanket on the floor, because we didn't have a table, and we would eat on the floor on this blanket. And so Sofra is the name of our family office. And in those moments I remember there was a coffee table, and I would go under the coffee table, and I dreamed that I was an astronaut. And I was pushing buttons into space. And years later, to work on rocket companies like Astra or SpaceX or I signed up as one of the first time on Virgin Galactic to be an astronaut for Virgin Galactic. I'm looking forward to that flight. I'm glad Branson went first, showed safe. But it's to go from like being that little kid with nothing but dreams and being patient and kind to myself and understanding that if you work hard enough, every dream is really possible. And it really is, the difference is putting in the work and not giving up, never giving up. No matter how much hardship comes your way, believing in yourself, believing in your ideas, believing in your team, and that anything is possible.
I think to your point, what I wish I had understood earlier was the importance of empathy. We had a dinner with a number of our investors, 6 months ago, and I was seated next to one of them who I've known socially for 8 years, and is a complete and utter titan in the industry. Like, I was seated next to him. I was like, well, shoot, we've never really had like a conversation before. And so I sat there first and was like, so the deals are doing well. It was completely boring. And then I was like, I'd just like some advice. And, like Shervin, he's a big brother figure to me. And we talked, engaged for 2 hours. And he had me order a book on the study of Buddhism and being a Bodhisattva. And there were a number of key takeaways from that, but one of the ones that I found to be most important was the importance of empathy in business and being able to understand not just the people that you're working with, together with, and how they feel, what their day's going like, and really, again, and it's empathy, not sympathy, it's actually feeling for them, but also for the people that piss you off, or you can make enemies too. And understand the challenges and the strife that they're going through. And by pulling yourself out of moments when you're angry, you're frustrated, taking a step back, and feeling what that person's feeling has led to me making far better business decisions. When I was younger, and I was in my 20s, filled with that energy, and sometimes it doesn't manifest itself in purposeful ways, and they can end up hurting you professionally. So for me, I'd say that empathy.
No, I mean, one of the things I know my role here on the stage is to moderate and facilitate the conversation. But I'm pretty excited about what's happening in Miami, and I also migrated to Miami, Jamaican born and raised. Immediately how I developed a strong connection with Dr. Haynes and the work she's done with Usain Bolt. But I always look back at the work that has happened in this community. I was super lucky to be mentored by Chris Adamo, and he brought me into this ecosystem and introduced me to a lot of the people playing here, and I would always hear about the things that Shervin was doing. And then the minute Jesse got here, it was not just about there isn't just talk that happens, right? People are willing to put their money where their mouth is, their time where their mouth is, or they're willing to lift the furniture and bring it into the annex and place it here. And I think that's what's special about your community is the people who are here, the stories they bring, and how their lived experiences have allowed them to empathize, to connect and be patient with themselves, and for us all to go through this struggle and experience together. And I'm so hopeful for the future of our ecosystem and all the people that we're bringing into our community. So I want to thank you both for your time and for the role that you have played and will continue to play in helping to build this ecosystem and to create these opportunities for every single person sitting in this room, because we do indeed stand on the shoulders of giants. I'm just 24. I have no business being here and doing some of this, but I get to do it, and we have an amazing time.
You absolutely belong. You belong. Your energy has been just amazing. So it's great to connect with you and excited to work with you on the ideas. Is there any questions?
Yeah, really share. Anybody speak to this? All right, you guys want to raise your hands? Any raised hand questions? All right, cool. I'll just jump in and get out my way this way. Sweet.
First I saw the tweet and I actually messaged the mayor. I DM'd the mayor, and I thought that was so cool. Now I'm thinking of moving here, so thank you. Exile from California, maybe. So thank you for that. That was so cool.
You actually DM'd the mayor?
I did. I actually saw that, and I DM'd the mayor, and I was expecting like amazing, like a big thing. He was just like, okay, what's up? And I'm like, no, I don't know. You just sent him DM me, so I did. I thought that was really cool. Hey, you said human behavior change and new behaviors that affect at least 1 billion people, and you said gritty founders, personality, intelligence, work ethic. Is that, do you have some sort of like analytical framework that you look through those, or is that on like feel, you're like paying attention to trends, you just kind of feel it out as it goes, or do you have some way that you kind of record and track this?
That's a great question. There's the quantitative and qualitative side of both that framework. One is in terms of how I invest, I look for signals like early on, and essentially my kind of timing has been around ideas and signals that say some change is coming in an industry in the next 5 years. And I've kind of narrowed it down from, I used to go after ideas that were 10 years ahead, and that's a little too long to wait, but 5 years is just around the right time. And then, as an example, the on-demand space was a space that I wrote about before it really began to happen with great companies like Uber and so on. So started to search for companies that I thought that this device was going to actually, as a platform, open up opportunities for, like what became Uber, what became Airbnb, and so on. PillPack was another example. I was looking for PillPack for about 4 years, 3 to 4 years, looking for companies, entrepreneurs. This is what is now Amazon Pharmacy. It was founded by a young pharmacist out of MIT, whose dad was a pharmacist, and I flew out to Cambridge, Massachusetts, met him, gave him a term sheet within 48 hours, was part of the Series A, introduced him to Bezos and Bezos Expeditions, and then Amazon ended up buying the company for $1 billion in cash and stock, and then he launched Amazon Pharmacy. But that idea, the signal was, why wouldn't there be a centralized pharmacy that could service all 50 states instead of the kind of system that we had in the past that we felt was going to be disrupted? And so followed that signal, then found the founder with the right grit and experience. I've had really good luck with sibling founders, family members, father, son, father, daughter, mom, son in the Curology case. The founder of Curology is a dermatologist, and so is his mom. And so they helped start that company. And that's been an interesting signal for me in terms of investments that work and kind of check off the matrix of what we work for.
Listening to you guys talk, I wanted to know what South Florida talent have you guys worked with, or do you plan on working with? When you guys mentioned some of Miami talent that's already here and from the crib. My name is Gnarly, by the way, and I happen to be from Miami.
Thank you. I'd love to get to know you, what you're working on. We started recruiting people from Miami into our company. So Bolt, for example, is one of those. Stara was another, which is a space company. We're incubating Coachera, which my sister is the founder of, which is like a coaching as a service. And I've invested in many of the founders like New Life, JP and Damien and that team, and that company. It's medical ketamine company that's growing very fast. They just announced today we seeded the company with a bunch of friends like Jack Abraham and John Oranger and so on. And then they just raised $23 million from obvious ventures. So like to have a Miami-born company go from, in a year from seed funding from Miami ecosystem to obvious ventures, that's the Twitter co-founder, and an amazing team of guys who did, and the team that did Beyond Meat and other companies. That's a great kind of signal that this formula is working.
I also just want to make sure that we acknowledge, because I talk about you as a big brother figure, and other people that we've worked with, and a lot of the people that I spoke about are men. And I wanted to point out that there is a very strong and powerful workforce of women here. Dr. Haynes is here. Ms. Medina, who's part of the and this is important too because there was an existing technology community in Miami before we all came here. And they're a part of the growth now. And you're very involved with everybody too. And that is both men and women. You don't see Jessica Hoffman on the stage. You've been coordinating with her partner at Craft Ventures, part of pulling all of this together. And so I just want to make sure before we get off the stage today that we acknowledge that this, we talk about Miami and its diversity, and that is, completely gender neutral here. And there's a lot of really, really great existing women in Miami that are a very, very important part of the ecosystem.
Thank you. All right. All right, so we can probably do like a quick picture with the group. I love doing selfies. Yeah. For Twitter. All right, cool. So let's just do a picture really quickly. Thank you all so much for your time. If you guys don't mind, just taking a minute picture. Thank you all.